I was in a terrible headspace for months and months and months, and I don't even have a word to describe it. Heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, everything you could possibly think of in that vocabulary is what that event was for me.
Stephen Mallozzi's story is anything but common. From professional go-kart racing to a terminal illness, this second year's path has been windy and at times scary. But in the end, it's what led him to UVA. This is Stephen Mallozzi's Common Grounds.
Stephen Mallozzi grew up in Swedesboro, New Jersey, where by the age of 15, he had become one of the best professional go-kart drivers in the nation. But this story doesn't start with a sport. It starts with a person, his dad, Stephen Anthony Mallozzi.
It's not a matter of if I would have been as successful. It's a matter of the career wouldn't have happened. I never would have raced if it weren't for my dad.
But the racing thing was a two-way street. I mean, we couldn't have done it without one another. And then watching him progress through the ranks and eventually win local races, then win regional, then win at the national level, and eventually get to be in world finals in Portugal.
It was October 2016, and my husband had gone to the doctor 3 times. Each time they had said it was allergies. And then finally I called my doctor, who is a friend of ours, and I told him what happened, and he sent him for a CAT scan. And he said, go over to this place and get a CAT scan. I'm ordering it stat, and then meet me at my office. And when we got to his office, he was sitting in his office crying. He said, no, I'm really sorry. This is stage 4 terminal cancer. You need to get everything in order because we're gonna say anywhere from 3 to 9 months is expected life.
Mr. Mallozzi was diagnosed with stage 4 non-small cell cancer. 1 week later, Stephen and his father traveled to Las Vegas for the biggest race of the season. There, something incredible happened.
In a second, everybody's coming through. It's going to be a drag race to run. Mallozzi to the outside. Who's going to get it? Mallozzi. Stephen Mallozzi wins in an absolute drag race, 2/100ths of a second.
What was that win like for you guys after coming off of such hard news?
I like to personally think it's part of what kept him going. It was this small town kid from rural New Jersey who made a maneuver that nobody thought he could make and took home the race. And I think for my dad, that's like him. You know, you get an impossible diagnosis. You don't really know what's coming. The future is not really, it's cloudy. The future's cloudy. But then there's this shining moment. And I think that really helped him to keep going and to keep fighting.
Stephen didn't just win. He gave his father hope in the midst of uncertainty, a gift he would keep giving even as he made the switch from the driver's seat to the commentator's box.
One of the proudest moments maybe I have of the whole racing experience was early on when he started commentating, whether they were with a top team or just a father-son team that was out there. He wanted to make sure he knew their numbers, the karts they have, their names, and get a history about them. And when we talked about it, his comment was, Dad, do you remember the first time the commentator said our name? And how awesome it was? And he took that experience and he turned around and he gave it to other families.
It's been nearly 4 years since Mr. Mallozzi was diagnosed with cancer. He is still not in remission and the future is uncertain. But one thing is the same. Stephen's relationship with his father continues to impact his decisions.
So what made you pick UVA?
In 2 words, my dad. Not really anything else to it. I was not going to go here. I was going to go to Rutgers. From the bottom of his heart, he thought UVA was the place for me. He said he had had such a phenomenal experience here, and he felt like I wouldn't have that experience if I went to a school like Rutgers, which is just not on the same level as UVA. So without him being the driving force behind that, I never would have ended up here.
It wasn't the roar of the engine or the near triple-digit speeds that made Stephen love racing, just like it wasn't the campus or prestige that led him to UVA. It was one man, his dad. And that's what this story is really about. This is a story about a bond, one that was formed on a racetrack, fueled a fight through sickness, and ultimately guided Stephen to where he is today.